I'm still reeling from that conversation about Shakespeare, you know, about decolonising the exhibit to make it clear that actually, basically, the UK was responsible for some atrocities.
The greatest writer, probably, ever. I mean, his work is studied around the world, and I mean, I think some of Shakespeare's plays are fantastic, actually.
Of course it is. My 13-year-old at the moment is doing Romeo and Juliet at school, and even though she...
Star-crossed lovers.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, as has always been the case, they find the language very difficult, don't they, the youngsters? They're not mad on the Old English, but just looking at some of the homework with it just brings it all flooding back. It's just so brilliant. It was so brilliant. And I just think it's really sad.
There's some great black characters. Caliban in The Tempest. Oh, we're done.
More Shakespeare FM tomorrow.
Yes, we'll be back with you tomorrow, but up next it's Tom and Emily, and we'll see you tomorrow.
Welcome back to Britain's newsroom. Somebody here, Lady of the House, says, Bev, have you got a YTS kid working the camera? It's giving me a dizzy head. Sorry about that. We had a couple of technical issues during that interview. Now...
Blame the producer.
Blame the computers. I blame the computers for everything, frankly, in life.
It's not us.
Right, Arian, good morning, has said the reason people are coming here is for benefit. They don't care about our country. And Christine says, we do need a border, Bev. Troops needed at the coast. We are being invaded. I think she means we need an army. I think maybe because we were talking
honestly, Keir Starmer wants to put 10,000... They wants this peacekeeping force of 10,000 in Ukraine. We can't even protect the Kent coast.
Exactly.
It's a joke.
How does he not know that that's what the public are going... Welcome back.
Britain's Newsroom, live across the UK, Andrew and Bev, and lots of people getting in touch, I think, Bev.
Yeah, they have. Richard says, in reality, people in this country have never been better off. What have a lot done with them? With that, sat around doing nothing, let their minds run away with their thoughts about how bad their lot is. There's a lot of truth in that. We've also got, because this is about the generation work shy we're talking about, they also expect to have everything immediately. It's kind of generation entitled as well. Andrew says, you're so right, Bev, thank you. I like a message that starts like that. I've recently retired after over 50 years of work. The change in my physical and mental condition is staggering, so I'm now actively researching voluntary work to give me a purpose. That's what we were talking about work not just being about not taking money off the state, but just about the fact that it's good for you to have a reason to get out of bed in the morning. David, morning, David. Hi, Bev and Andrew. If you're overweight on benefits, you're getting too many benefits. What is classed as subsistence living? Would somebody ask the government ministers, what is the definition of working class? Probably the same answer as what is a woman?
Yeah.
Very clever.
Yeah.
And Jack says, the Trussell Trust do not spend 30% of the money donated to them on food, not the best group to comment on the best way to spend benefit money. I don't know the veracity of that, Jack, to be honest. And Ginger Witch says, I've worked all my life since the age of 15. Now I'm 50. I have a chronic pain condition as well as other illnesses. I worked as long as I could until I couldn't cope with the pain. I then had to fight for PIP for over a year. After a very degrading and insulting assessment, the judge at the tribunal was disgusted that it had gone to court in the first place. I was still only awarded standard on both daily living and mobility. It was very hard to get PIP, and yet I see junkies where I live getting full amount while I struggle. The whole system does need to change, but for the right people, not the work shy, who are a waste of oxygen. That's the problem.
Yeah.
People who are gaming the system are not thinking about those who genuinely need support.
Well, they don't care. We've got Chris Hope's in the studio with us, our political editor. Chris, this is turning into a big problem now for Keir Starmer's government. It seemed a few weeks ago they were coasting to the idea that they were going to freeze these personal independence payments next year. Now, even the Tories didn't do that.
No.
But there's...
Rising, so we're going to be talking about that in just a moment. Thanks, Chris.
He's called Jack Draper.
See you later. So have you sprung into action yet with our spring giveaway? Your chance to win fabulous designer handbag, 2 designer watches and an incredible...
£17,770 tax-free cash to spend on anything you like.
That's right.
Amazing prize package.
Do you know, we don't do St George's Day in the same way that we do St Patrick's Day.
I suspect if you asked even a cross-section of people in this building when is St George's Day, they might not know.
I don't know.
It's April the 23rd.
Oh, thanks for telling me.
Yeah.
We just, but we the
don't
English,
celebrate it.
you know, we're very self-effacing, the English, aren't we? We don't like to make a fuss or celebrate our identity. And even Shakespeare now is getting criticised for being a racist.
In my junior school, all the Irish kids, which was just about 99% of them, wore shamrock on on the blazer on St Patrick's Day, and the same in the secondary school.
Isn't it sad? Because the St George's flag has become a sign that, you know, it's become shameful somehow, associated with a sort of extreme nationalism.
They think the racist hijacked it, and it is a shame.
We have to claim that back.
We should. Now, still to come is
I thought what Emma Reynolds was saying there about the fact that work is good for dignity is something we've got to remember.
Yeah.
Because the idea of queuing up to go to a food bank and then claim your benefits from the state, cannot be as good as getting up in the morning, doing a day's work, getting paid for it and having that sense of purpose.
I quite agree.
It's one of the pillars of a healthy life, isn't it? Is purpose. And we seem to have a generation, or too many people, who just don't seem to have any purpose.
We've made it too easy for people to live on benefits. The benefit system should be a fallback system. There shouldn't be a way of life.
Correct. It's become a lifestyle.
It has.
But clearly something gone wrong there. I think the key question there, Andrew, is what you said about why are we so much less healthy? Why are people so ill all the time?
Yeah.
What have we done in this country? We are supposed to be a wealthy country, which means people are overweight, out of shape, out of fitness, out of work. It's not good enough.
Really isn't. Now, up next, Bev's in her green colours today. It is, of course, St Patrick's Day, March the 17th. We're off to Downpatrick to celebrate. But first, if you're in search of some winter sun, I don't suppose there's much of that in Ireland at the moment, here is the forecast of some of our top European holiday destinations.
Good morning. Thank you for joining us. Another Monday morning. Hope you had a lovely weekend. Now, we've got obviously a bit of a crisis, haven't we, amongst our young people, it seems. A quarter of Generation Z, as we're calling them, considering quitting work as young Brits cite mental health as a key reason to be unemployed.
I'm sorry, if they quit work because they're fed up working, they shouldn't get any benefits.
But you see, and I think there's a whole generation probably who would never normally have been that benefits culture. So, you know how some families actually have a benefits culture, they just pass it down. And there are other families who would never have claimed anything from the state, and then the pandemic happened and the government were liberally handing out furlough, stay at home, have a barbecue, it's sunny. And so we've normalised the state supporting these young kids because they're like, well, why would I not take it? And they're resentful that people who they think shouldn't have it have got it as well. As in illegal migrants in hotels.
Yeah. But you see, the Secretary of State for Health, Wes Streeting, said yesterday we're oversubscribing the idea of mental health. Because a lot of these kids who want to stop working, it's their mental health.
That's what they're saying.
And it's become an epidemic.
This is also...
It used to be, when we were growing up, pull yourself together. I do get that, of course, some people genuinely have mental health issues, of course. But how many?
Not as many as that, but of course this is also the generation who have been told at school that they've been encouraged to discuss their mental health, and that isn't a bad thing. But the overcompensation, the pendulum swing has gone so far. I think I remember telling you in one of the mental health weeks, my daughter, when she was about 14, and she came home and she went, I think I need to have a mental health condition because all they're talking about all week is mental health. And do you know what? Teenagers are very, very suggestible. So if you tell them they should feel something, they're going to feel it. That's part of the condition. So we've made them weak, actually. I know that's a controversial thing to say. We've made a whole generation of young people weak. We've asked them to sit at home and think about themselves, think about who they are, think about how they feel. And it's gone so far that now they sit at home and go, I don't want to go to work. And
they spend too much time in their bedrooms on their devices and not enough time outside, not enough time talking to people. They don't even talk to their own families.
Completely. Why did we want to go to work when we were younger? You know why? Because otherwise we'd be bored. This generation are never, ever bored because they are constantly stimulated by their phones.
I also needed money.
And we needed money as well. But this is the thing. They're demoralised, all right? And I'm seeing it from both sides because I am impatient with that generation for not helping themselves, but I can also see how we've made this happen. These 18 to 24-year-olds particularly, in the pandemic, that was the work experience that they would have been having. They would have had Saturday jobs, work experience, sports to keep them motivated. We ripped it all away for a couple of years, and it's like they're immature. They haven't grown up. They haven't had those normal stages of development. I don't know how we fix it.
They've become too dependent.
They become very dependent. They have become sluggish, lazy, unmotivated. They have bad diets. They don't do enough sport.
And also, of course, a lot of them are still living at home because they can't afford their own place.
That's right.
And if you've got your own place, that creates a form of independence.
And just to give you an example, a friend of my son just recently put money, £2,000 to train as a personal trainer. He thought, right, I'll do something. He works for one of the big gyms. He does personal training for them. They take a massive cut of his salary. So by the end of the month, his mum was saying to me, but Bev, he's left with £250 at the end of the month at 20 years old. That's what he's got to live off. And he says everything is so expensive, as we know. Just go into the supermarket, go to a bar, restaurant, everything is cripplingly expensive. So we've got a generation that are demoralised. So what's the point?
2 glasses of wine, nearly 20 quid.
Exactly. It's rough for kids, it's rough for the youngsters, but somehow we've got to fix it.
Now, the government's going to unveil tomorrow an overhaul of the disability benefits system. And they say, and it's all to do with personal independence payments. They were going to freeze the benefits next year, but now we think they're going to make it more difficult to qualify for them in the first place.
That's right. So only the most severely disabled will be able to qualify. MPs are already rebelling over the plans. And the government U-turning on these payments, it's going to cause a big conflict, this, isn't it, within the Labour Party?
Yeah, this is a huge problem for Labour because a lot of Labour MPs you talk to, they say, I didn't come into Parliament to cut benefits from our sickest people.
Yeah.
The Economic Secretary to Treasurer, Emma Reynolds, was challenged earlier on whether the government is becoming Tory-light.